how do you guys feel about meeting two of the top legends of all time of the Wrestling Federation? All right, let's give a big round of applause and welcome to Bushwacker Luke and Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. We're gonna hear some stories. You guys are feel free to ask any questions you have, and just don't ask them what the favorite color is or something like that, you know. All right.
You know, you think that after I spent, oh gosh, almost 20 years being an active wrestler, and then another 5 years being a manager, you know, and having somebody said, I don't even know, but somebody said I had over my career 30 titles. But what is the one thing that I'm remembered more for than any of that? Come on, Ted, let's do the rap. There he is. How about you, Luke?
Well, this is my 7th decade in the business. It's been a long trip, but a lot of good memories down the road, a lot of wild things too. Close to death a few times, but I'm still here. Yeah. It's great to be here in Oklahoma today. So, anyone out there with any questions? Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask Mr. DiBiase if after all these years, if everyone still has a price.
Are you kidding? Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. Yeah, somebody else. Yep.
In Jim Ross's first book, he tells a story about how Leroy McGurk planned to shoot young Ted DiBiase for dating his daughter. When did you find out that the boss planned to shoot you?
Well, by the grace of God, I found out the next day after it didn't happen.
Thank the Lord.
But yeah, it's a true story, but it's much funnier when Jim tells the story, because poor Jim, you know, had to, you know, put Leroy in a car, drive from Tulsa to Shreveport, and he said, like he said, when he telling the story, he said Leroy was, you know, because he's blind, and so, you know, he's smoking this cigar, and the cigar's getting small and small, and it's dropping on his pants and burning holes in his. It's just, you got to, Jim tells the story much better than I can, but by the grace of God, I'm still here. I didn't get shot, but you know, then at that time, the top guys in Mid-South were like Killer Carl Cox, you know, Dick Murdoch, Bob Sweetan. Those were the guys. Those are some of the guys that in my early career I learned a lot from. But like Murdoch, I mean, Murdoch and I were very close. Murdoch's actually the guy who got me booked in Mid-South. And but what he would do to me, every time we'd come up to Tulsa, now this is post this, they would always bring Leroy McGurk into the dressing room to say hello to all the guys. And sure as crap, you know, Leroy would come in and sit down, and Dick would look at me and he said, hey, you know, like you always going to say, hey, Teddy. They all called me Teddy then. And he would go, hey, and I'd go, thank God he never said it. And thank God Leroy never got his hands on the gun. But yeah, it's a true story. And I did for a while have a relationship with Mike McGurk, and we were still very good friends. So can you imagine that? A guy, Leroy wanted a son so bad, and he didn't get a son, and so he named his girl Mike.
Wow.
Yeah. That's another true story.
Wow.
Yeah, the one that she was the ring announcer for a while. Anybody else? Yes.
What's the worst injury you've had in your career?
Wow.
For wrestling.
Worst injury in my career. It's kind of like there was no single thing that happened to me, but I noticed that when I would take the standard bump that wrestlers take, or from their feet to their back, you know, whether you get hit with a tackle or whatever, or you get slammed, but you're landing on your back. And what the doctor told me, he says most of that is absorbed right across the top of your shoulders. Well, what was happening to me is I would take a bump and I would get a shooting pain, like electricity down my arm. Like, what the heck was that? And it would happen, and then it would happen again, and then it wouldn't happen, and then it wouldn't happen, then it would happen again. And finally, when I went to a doctor, he says, "You've herniated 2 discs in your neck." And he says, "This is not from any one thing that happened. This is from years of you taking those bumps, boom, 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 boom." And basically they had to take the 2 discs out. And what they did, but they do it different now. They took 2 bone plugs from my hip and replaced the discs and fused it together. So I have that fusion in my neck. And they told me then, they said, "Now, we're required to tell you this." He said, "But the odds of it ever happening are 1,000 to 1. But if after you've had this surgery, you get dropped on your head, you know, it could leave you paralyzed or even kill you." And of course, it wasn't, you know, I was very close to turning 40 at the time. And my dad, who wrestled, his wrestling name was Iron Mike DiBiase. He was not only a professional wrestler, 1946 AAU National Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, wrestling in the Navy. And then when he got out of the Navy, he went to the University of Nebraska and lettered at Nebraska eight times, 4 years in wrestling, 4 in football, and 3 years in a row was conference heavyweight champion in amateur wrestling, and was my hero. And he's the guy that I wanted to emulate the most. And I don't know what got me off on that, but just that was the influence. A lot of people ask me, whatever made you want to be a wrestler? Well, that's it. You know, and not only, well, he was my father, but he was what made it even more special. He was actually my stepfather, because he came into my life when I was 5. My mother and biological father divorced when I was 2. My biological father was a professional singer. He had a very deep voice, and I have a very deep voice, but I couldn't carry a tune if it had handles on it. So don't ever ask me to sing. My wife even hits me in church, you know, and I said, "Look, it says make a joyful noise." So I am. But some of the guys that influenced my career when I was young, those guys I just mentioned, you know, Bob Sweetan, Killer Carl Cox, Dick Murdoch. You know, I didn't realize at the time the amount of talent that was in Mid-South over the course of that first year that I was in there, because this was when Cowboy Bill Watts and Leroy McGurk, you know, they had joined. I mean, they were partners at the time. Bill eventually bought Leroy out, and it was all his. Of course, you know, Bill, you know, he was a Sooner. He played football at Oklahoma, and yeah, I know, you know what? The only time that I don't cheer for the Sooners is when they're playing Nebraska. And you know what? I'm kind of mad, because that was one of the greatest rivalries in college football. And then they changed divisions and just, you know, and now it's the rare opportunity that you get to see them play each year, and this doesn't happen anymore. So, no, but everybody goes, I've lived in Mississippi now for 35 years. Say, I think, okay, so Ole Miss, Mississippi State, or Southern Mississippi. I said, no, I'm a die-hard Cornhusker until the day I die. You know, just like you, most of you in this room got to be Sooners. That's what you should be. One of the best Sooners that I ever knew was a guy named Dr. Steve Williams. Steve Williams was an incredible athlete. It's one thing when, I mean, by the time you get to college, you know, you're either placed on scholarship, you know, to play football or to play basketball or baseball or something. But Steve Williams competed in college in two grueling sports. Number one, he was a starter for the Sooners, playing football, and he was a wrestler. That's just really, I mean, you know, that's, you know, beyond and beyond. And a good guy, and he ended up being a great pro wrestler as well, and I miss him very much.
What about you, Luke? What was your biggest injury?
A lot of people would say it was a pussy injury. I've had a lot of surgeries and that from wear and tear. But my injury, I was going to the ring, I can't remember what town it was, and instead of going up the steps, I did the old way, put my knee on the apron, grabbed the rope, and pulled myself up that way, and I ripped my groin. And boy, was that painful. I never thought a thing like that. You know, usually you get ripped your groin many other ways. But a simple thing like just getting into the ring and that. And I sort of heard a sort of a snap right there. But I didn't realize something like that could be so painful. But like Ted, I've had my neck through the wear and tear over the years. Before being the bushwhacker, I was a heel, sheep herder. And I've been a heel since 1962 when I started. And I'd taken a lot of bumps and everything, so my body was worn, and my neck was, now my neck is all fused. That's why I'm, to look around the tent, I gotta check my whole body. Yeah, but I'm still getting around, I got no pain. That's the main thing. Before, every time I took a step.
Yeah, now you're just numb.
Yeah. The brain is too dead. But like everyone too, you know, Ted was a villain most of his life and that, and you take a lot of bumps and that, and the body gets worn. Like your back, as he said, the major part of it. You're taking those slams all the time, it's all up with the shoulders and the neck, hips. I had 2 knee replacements, both on the same knee. That's from being stupid and jumping off the corner and that, you know, when I was younger. Things add up on that. But I'm still hopping in the ring. Can you believe that?
That's awesome.
They say I'm crazy. What can you say?
You have
know,
to.
On the outside, you know, you all come up and say, "Oh, you're looking good," and I say, "Yeah, I'm like a used car in the front on the lot, all polished up on the outside, but a lemon on the inside." Yeah. Hey, that little boy was still moving around, and that the way things been going on in the last 15, 20 years with the boys going down, it's been a sad time. A real sad time since 2000. That's when everything started happening. And you all know how many people, it's sad. We just had two referees go down last week. And great guys. Dave Hebner and Ted and Tim Wood, Timmy.
Tim White.
From WWE. Tim White. A great guy. Tim White had the job of looking after Andre for the last 10 years with Andre. What a job that would be.
Yeah.
Andre liked to drink. Andre liked to have a party a bit, you know what I mean? And yeah, Timmy ended up having a bar up in the northeast. So I guess Andre put his elbow in that bar a few times. I can tell a few stories about Andre, because I met him in 1969, before he came over to North America. He came to New Zealand and Australia. And me and my Butch, we tagged up in 1966. So we worked a lot of, this was 69 or 70. Andre was 350, a 7'4", big afro. He looked skinny at 350. Because when he died, and went in the end, and WWE, he was in the 500s, 520. We worked handicap matches all over the country. And if I told you the moves we did, you'd laugh, but they were so simple that the people used to go berserk. Simple things we did, you know, with both with Andre. It was more entertainment, I guess. But anyhow, he was brought over to Canada in 1971 by the Vachons. You ever heard of Mad Dog Vachon Morris? The Mad Dog and his brother Butcher. Yeah, they owned a company in Montreal with Edward Capotier, the Flying Frenchman. It was called Grand Prix. And Andre came in there in 71, and the place caught on fire. Now the same two guys brought me and Butch over to Canada too. They brought us, and Butch and me came in 72. And we came in at the start, and we were working towns every night. Then they had a meeting about a month after we were in, and there's 70 guys there. That's when I found out they were running 3 towns a night. And the Rougeaus are running another town. That's how hot the business was in Ontario and Quebec back in those days. All the top talent from North America was working up that way. You know, the Maple Leaf Gardens selling out all the time. It was just that time. You know, and they did that a big show in Jerry Park where the Olympic Games were, and I think it was in 68 or something or other, and they did over 30,000 people. You know, and that era of 30,000 crowd was a big crowd. Yeah. But they had it was Bruno Sammartino, all the Italians. I always remember this because we worked against Dominic DeNucci, Tony Puglisi, Dino Bravo when he was 19 years of age, and his partner, another Italian guy up there. And then we didn't know the rules, and it was inside Quebec where the commission was. Because we ran the television, we did television, and it was about 20 miles or 15 miles out of Quebec. So you could do anything there. But right inside in Montreal, where the commission was, you couldn't go out the ring. And the first 5 minutes of this match, a babyface got thrown out, and Butch jumped on him, and the commission cut the match off right there. We did it. They all joke about it now when we think about it, but we didn't know about the commission in those days.
Wow.
And this state is one of the states in U.S. that still has a commission to wrestle. You have to have blood work and get a license.
Wow.
Where Vince and his wife changed it to sport entertainment everywhere else, and they don't have commissions anymore.
Wow. Wow.
It's changed a lot. Any questions?
Yeah.
I don't know if Vince's wife is talking to him right now. we won't talk about that.
Well, Johnny Laurinaitis,
Oh.
who just married the Divas 4 years ago. He married the two sisters. The Bella's mother. I don't know whether she's talking to him either. That was all the other side of the road. You know, we drive on the other side of the road. You know, is that a knife? You know, and then he brings out that big car, big knife. And we did all that sort of stuff. Not that sort of stuff, but similar down under stuff. And these vignettes, and then we came to the ring, and it changed in that. Vince didn't give us the arm swinging or the head licking and that. He just said, I want you to be between the sheep herders and the Moondogs. And Butch said, well, the sheep herders are on a Tenor network for the last 10 years, off and on, and the Moondogs have been on USA Network, so let's do something else. So we used to go out as the heels and swing our arm up and try to scare the people and scream, whoa, and scream. And he said, well, let's start marching to the ring, swinging our arms. And I said, my shoulders are shot. He said, you know what, I said to him straight away, my shoulders are shot. Didn't say shot, I said the F word. Anyhow, he said, do you want to make money? So we started marching to the ring with a high step and all that, and the fans caught on to it straight away. Even some of the NFL players, when they did a touchdown, they were marching in the back line doing that. So the gimmick caught on, and that, and the head licking, and hence the Bushwackers emerged. He changed the name, of course, from sheep herders because of royalties and all that sort of stuff. You know, if we use the sheep herders, you make a bigger percentage. So that's why a lot of the names change when they go to Vince McMahon. Any more questions, guys?
Right back here.
What's that, sir?
So I saw that Ric Flair was trying to do more matches or something like that coming up, and like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard were taking bumps like in certain places last year. I was just wondering to see what y'all's opinions on people or legends that haven't worked in a long time coming back, and not necessarily like if y'all would do it, just no one wants to see y'all get hurt.
Well, I mean, old legends coming back. I mean, there's, you know, there's a few people that, even somebody that I love and was one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Terry Funk. You know, Terry Funk almost made a career out of retiring and then coming back. He did it like 3 or 4 times. You know, I mean, look, I'm 68 years old. I said, you're never going to see this body in spandex tights again, I promise. That ain't happening. You know what? And anybody, I mean, and I'm sorry, I love Rick. Rick is a phenomenal wrestler and had a phenomenal career, but he's like a little boy who never wants to grow up. Yeah, I mean, his personality. And he, you know, it's like anytime Rick goes in the room, you know, he wants to be the center of attention. And I know that. And I don't know why. I never delved into that. Never asked any questions. But I know that he and his father never had a great relationship. So there might be reasons why, you know, Rick wants to do like this one more match thing. So, but you know what? And God bless him if he does. You know, but I would be, if it were me doing that, I would make sure that whoever that other guy was going to be was somebody that's going to take care of me. You know, because the reality is, the first rule you learn in wrestling is take care of the other guy, protect his body. And if you both are trying to do that, and when you like if you something, like guys, you do a move and you're all sweaty or something, and you're slipping, and somebody's going to get hurt, you know, both guys are thinking, well, except the Warrior, I'm gonna sacrifice my body. You know, I'm gonna try to protect him.
Yeah.
And as long as you try to do that, then, you know, accidents are going to happen. But if you follow that rule, and most guys do, then that works out pretty good.
Awesome.
I had to be careful one time though. I was working 2 guys, mainly in Europe and England, and I had to be very careful because I didn't know whether I was going to be safe or not. And that was the $1 Million Man in IRS. Now the reason, Rick too, making this final match, you know, Rick nearly died twice. He had a bag on his hip. He wasn't with us for 3 days or 4 days. He passed out and that, and now he's back partying, as Ted said. Everybody said he's like a little kid. And the word is going out too. Is this the way he wants to say goodbye to everybody? You know what I mean? Yeah. Partying and in the ring. That rumor's going around. That rumor's going around at the moment. It's a bad rumor. But he's partying heavier than he did before. He's back. I live on Clearwater Beach. He's back down there. He's out every day on the water drinking in his boat, and then in bars every night. You know, and a man has had 2 heavy chances, and now he's going back in the ring. That's how he wants to be. I guess that's how Rick wants to be thought of, you know.
He kind of lives the real life of his character.
Yes. It's sad, you know, he should be slowing down, but he's not.
Yes.
Anybody else? So, anybody else so we can tell a few lies?
Who's the funniest guy in the business?
Well, we talked about him before, and then you won't believe it, Dickie Murdoch. He was a clown. He could be a clown in the ring too. And to the people, they wouldn't see it, but he'd have you in stitches in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, Dick Murdoch, in my early career, played a big role. He really did. And the matchup that he had and the program that he had with Killer Carl Cox, I watched it from beginning to end, and at the end of it, basically, that's how they kind of start breaking me in, do a little more, because they had Cox do something with me. But I can remember one night, this is in Amarillo, Texas, and Dickie's supposed to do a run-in. Something's going to happen in the match, and Dick's supposed to run out there and save the day. Well, he's in the bathroom, in the dressing room, on the toilet, and somebody else, Murdoch, you gotta go. And so he jumps up, and of course he's, wrestlers wear under tights and tights. And obviously the under tights serve as like to protect what you have to protect. And so he runs out to the ring. He gets in the ring. He's holding his tights in his hand. He's got his under tights on, and these guys are coming at him, and he's knocking them down. Boom, boom, boom. And then he looks at his hand and he goes, oh. And then he, real quick, he puts them on and then continues to make a comeback. I've never seen anything like it. Only Dick Murdoch can do that and make it look good.
Wow. Exactly. Toilet paper one too. He ran out with the toilet paper.
Yeah.
He had his under tights on. He left it with the toilet paper hanging out. He ran out like that. He did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Dickie, hey, we started on Dickie stories too. I don't know whether you all saw him. He had buggy whip arms. He had a big pot belly, 6'4".
Yeah.
6'4". Now that bastard was as strong as an ox.
Yeah, he was.
Strong as an ox. And
a great
he could
worker.
knock one punch. He was a one-punch man. Bang. Out.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That's it. The bars.
I mean, he's from
Captain Redneck. That was his nickname.
from Amarillo, Texas, and as looked like the Funk family, and and I'm very close to the Funks as well. I went to West Texas State along with this. I mean, West Texas State probably graduated more wrestlers. Dusty Rhodes, Murdoch says he goes there, but he never did go there. Both Terry Funk and Dory Funk Jr., Tully Blanchard, me, and Tito Santana were all on the same football team. Barry Wyndham, yeah. And so all these guys came out of West Texas State, largely due to the influence of the Funk family. But Dick Murdoch is a classic, and you talk about respected. I mean, you go down on Amarillo Boulevard where all the honky tonk bars are, and that's where Dickie would always go because he knew he could probably always get in a fight, and he never lost one. One punch. But anyway.
Does anybody have a last question?
Obviously, you guys are both legends, Hall of Famers. You didn't need a championship belt, just like Jay and stuff, to become that. So, Ted, I have a question for you. When you had that 2-week run, and when they put the belt on the Macho Man at WrestleMania 4, are the rumors true that they were going to have you have a run with it, and then Vince changed his mind at the last minute? And also, what happened to the petition and put you in the record books as the world champion?
Well, I don't know about that. That's to me, that's kind of a joke. I mean, because technically speaking, I never was. But what's funny about it is like you almost have. The other argument is, even though I wasn't the champion, I defended it twice before they stripped me of it. But no, I mean, to me, I mean, having not ever been the world heavyweight champion is not that big a deal because it's not about the belts. It's the story you're telling, and it's a business. Now, you know, in the territorial days, and even now. I mean, obviously, whoever's got that belt, he's got to be competent. He's got to be a guy who is a leader in the ring. You know, because if he's not, then you got it on the wrong man. And obviously, Randy was somebody of that caliber. But, and yes, I knew that they were thinking about doing that, but they came to me. Pat Patterson came to me, and he said, Ted, he said, let's say, he says, okay, I'll put it to you this way. If you win the title, it'll be short-lived, because Vince had started directing our company. I mean, he was a genius. I mean, it's like, you know, his target audience were kids. And so kids want their heroes to be champion as much as possible. And so that's what he was trying to do. And he was also selling a lot of merchandise. He said, so if you get the belt, you're not going to have it long, and you're either going to pass it back to another babyface or back to Hogan. He said, let's say it backfires on you at WrestleMania 4, and then your arrogance, you create your own title. And as soon as he said it, I said, do it. I said, that'll put more heat on me than anything else you could do. I don't care about the belt. So there it is.
$1 million belt.
Yeah. Just one thing I have to leave you with. Never forget this as long as you live. Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
I just want to say to you, Mr. DiBiase, I didn't know that about your father and the story in Iron Mike. I can't imagine what your father, looking down upon you and your career and the legacy that you have lived up to, following in his footsteps. So, what an awesome life.
Thank you.
You guys are a part of something that people will continue to look up to, both of you, for years to come and follow in your footsteps, and I can't even imagine what that feels like. So give a round of applause to these incredible legends.
Just one more thing before I go. I just want all of you to know that when I watch college football, I am a huge Sooner fan. As long as you're not playing Nebraska.
If you guys have not had a chance to meet these two individuals, go to their table right now. They may just want to take a break after, I don't know. But you need to go to their table, get an autograph, buy some of their stuff and swag. Thank you guys for being here at the OKC PopCon. Give it up for them, the $1 Million Man!
Bushwacker, Luke.